and welcome to my online wine tasting tutorial. Now this is our second episode. On the first episode, on the first video, we looked at the whole wine tasting process. So from pouring the wine in the glass, looking at the color, the nose and the palate. We highlighted the importance of the temperature of the wine before we start any tasting. On this video, we want to focus on the color, and I'll explain you why. First thing first is, how do we look at the color of the wine? So if you see someone lifting the glass and look at the color like I'm doing now, then you know that this person doesn't know much about wine. Because if we really want to look at the color of the wine, what we want to do is we want to take a piece of paper like I'm doing now, white tablecloth, and look at the edges of the color. So by looking at the edges, we can actually see the real color of the wine. For example, in this case, it's really watery. So, but this is what we expect, because I'm drinking a young white wine. And this is one of the reasons why it's important to look at the color. Because by looking at the color, I can actually see whether the content of the bottle matches with the bottle itself. I'll give you an example. So let's take a Pinot Grigio 2019, no aging, nothing. So we put the wine in the glass, we expect to have really almost watery wine, really light color. If the wine in the glass is anything but light, we know immediately that there is something wrong. And it could be, for example, if it is too bright, too almost orangey, it could be that the wine is oxidated, which means that the oxygen has gone through the wine and the wine now is off. Same thing for the red wine. So by looking at the color, we want to see that the content of the bottle is actually corresponds at the label. The other reason we want to look at the color is because by looking at the color, we can actually tell whether the wine, for example, what kind of wine we're drinking, whether the wine has been aged or not. So if we look at the edges and we find the edges a bit on the gold, so yellow, goldish, then we know that the wine has been aged. And based on the shade of the gold, the gold, the deeper, the richer is the color, the more is the aging. We know what we drink, what we know we are gonna expect on the nose and then on the palate. Same thing for the red. So for white wine, the color, the gold, the aging is indicated by the gold. For the red wine is the brown. So if we see any red wine which tend to go brown on the edges, so we know that there's been some aging. So remember, the color is very important. It's often ignored, but it is very important because it gives you an idea of the wine you're drinking. Now, probably that's a bit too advanced, but eventually you will see that the more wines you drink, the more you will get familiar with the color, and you will know, by looking at the color, you will start recognizing certain grapes, because the color of the wine, the grapes and the wines, they are the same. So you see that going across. So by looking at the color, you'll be able to say, okay, that for example is Trebbiano d'Abruzzo, because I know that by looking at the color, I know that this is what the Trebbiano d'Abruzzo looks like. So this is for the color. So remember, if you got any question, you can ask me a question, you can post the question, and the next video we're gonna go and look at the nose. Salute!